Hey guys, this is a lesson from another teacher, Miss Moorhead, in the building, and we decided to come together and all start making videos so we can send it out to the whole fifth grade. So this is just the exit ticket for lesson 5. It will help you with your homework because you're going to have to do the same type of reasoning. If Miss Moorhead explains things a little bit differently than me, but again, there are many avenues to the same destination. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you tomorrow.
5, Module 1, Lesson 5, Exit 2.
Hold on, sorry. I left my Pandora on. Like always.
A chart that we have used many times in class, and I need to show 9 thousandths as a decimal. So I look for my place value names. I have tenths, hundredths, and thousandths. So I'm going to place my digit 9 in the correct column. Make sure I carry my decimal point down, so I have that marked. And then I have 2 blank spaces. What needs to go in these blank spaces? They should be zeros as placeholders. So your answer is 009. We read that as 9 thousandths. Let's try number 2. Express 29 thousandths as a fraction. All right, I've inserted a place value chart, and in my directions it says as a fraction. I am going to write it as a decimal first because I know that once I have it written as a decimal, I can easily translate that into a fraction. So I'm looking in the directions and I see 29 thousandths. So I find my thousandths column, and I know that my digit needs to end in the thousandths column. So there's my 29, and then I add my 0 as a placeholder. So here is 29 thousandths as a decimal, but we need it as a fraction. 29 out of 1,000. 29 thousandths is how I would write that fraction. 29 thousandths, there's 29 out of 1,000. Number 3, our last problem. Express 24 and 357 thousandths in words. It's kind of long, but you just have to take it apart piece by piece. Let's start with the whole numbers first. The 24. Alright, so I have 24 written out in words. I'm going to give you a minute to try and write the rest. Don't forget your decimal point and how we write that. Alright, here is my complete answer. 24 and 357 thousandths. So all I did was write this in word form, 357, and then added in my place value name for where my digit ended. There's my 7 in the thousandths column, so I knew that I needed to end with thousandths. Now we need to write it in expanded form using fractions and decimals. Let's start with decimals first, since that's what we have been mostly working with. So 24, we'll start with our whole numbers. How do I write 24 in expanded form? 20 plus 4. All right, we're done with the whole number part. Okay, and then we need to get into our decimals. So I'm still adding, because this is expanded form, each part makes up the whole. I'm going to look at my original number, 357. So I'm just going to take it apart piece by piece. How many tenths do I have? I have 3 copies of 1/10. 3 copies of 1/10. Okay, so then we're going to add again to include all the rest of our parts. I'm going to move to the hundredths column. How many hundredths do I have? And I see that I have 5. So 5 copies of my hundredths. there's 1/100th. I have 5 copies of 100th. And then lastly, I have 7 copies of my 1,000th. I'm going to wrap this around to the next line so that it's clear. 7 copies of 1,000th. There we go. There it is in decimal form. Now we're going to do it in fraction form. So I'm going to erase all this, pause the video or go back if you need it again, and we're going to do it in decimal form. So my 20 and my 4 stay the same. We still have 20 in my 10, 2 in my tens column and 4 in my ones column. I still have 3 copies of 1/10, 3 in the tenths column. So now instead of writing it as a decimal, I'm going to write it as a fraction. 3 copies of 1/10 plus 5 copies of 1 in the 100th column, and then 7 copies of the 1,000th column. There it is in fraction form. And then lastly in unit form, and we're just talking about our numbers in the place value names. So how many in the tens column do I have? I have 2 tens plus 4 ones plus 3 tenths plus how many in the hundredths? 5, I'm going to wrap around, hundredths, and lastly plus 7 thousandths. Whew. There we are at the end. You did it. Way to stick with it. Come with any questions that you have in class tomorrow. Thank you for working this out.
All right, there was Miss Moorhead. Let's thank her for making this video. Woohoo! Go Moorhead! All right, if you have questions about your homework, look at your pages before your packet and also review the video because lots of your homework has to do with this stuff, okay? So thank you, Miss Moorhead, for helping us out, and I will see you tomorrow.